This is third grade for February 21st. And I'm starting with number 1 on the study guide. This is a time question. This particular one starts off with school starts, or they have to be at work at 7:30, at 7:05. How many minutes in between that is there? Their big problem is, one, that they try to tell me like a certain time. But what I ask them to do is to list the times in chunks of 5 or 10 minutes, and being able to count by 10s or 5s. I did it in 10s and then a 5. I tell them that if they're more comfortable going in 5 minutes, then that is perfectly fine. So giving them 2 times and asking them to count the amount of time in between is good practice. This is a Cuban acing question. The question is, how many freshwater fish did the zoo have? They would restate with the zoo had blank freshwater fish. It said something about each tank had 6 fish. There were 8 tanks. The key word is each, and they should know that each means to multiply. So once again, you can change the numbers to give them practice. They would multiply to find that answer. In this question, they were given 3 or 4 shapes, and they actually, I think they were given 1 shape. It was actually a parallelogram, and they were given 4 different shape names, and they were asked which one identified the shape. The shape names were like rhombus, square, rectangle, and then quadrilateral. And this one was quadrilateral because the other shapes did not classify the parallelogram. On this one, they are given a shape, and they're actually asked to count the squares. I still give them the formula for area, and I say area, and then I usually say units squared to remind them that they have to put the units and then square, so that they go ahead and get this in their knowledge that they are doing length times width. So giving them a shape, if you want to draw the squares, then that's fine. On their study guide, they will have fast fact for this one, and it's a missing factor times something equals the product. So you can do several different ones of those in practice. This one is a rounding one. Once again, rounding to the nearest 100. The tens place is doing the rounding, and in this case, the 0 cannot round the hundreds place up, so we stay at 500. With the number 5, this is an associative property. With associative property, that means the grouping or the parentheses here. The question was parentheses 5 times 8, parentheses times 4. And what would be the associative property? And that would mean that they could switch the parentheses to 5 times parentheses 8 times 4, and that would work. What I tell them is that they just move the parentheses over or move the grouping over in the original equation. Number 12 asks them to use multiplication to find the area, which is the reason why I go ahead and tell them to always use that equation, A equals length times width, or A unit squared equals length times width. And once again, giving them different rectangles or squares with the measurements and asking them to find that. Number 15 is also a Cuban acing question, where how much do the packages weigh in all? The key word there would be in all, giving them different measurements of the packages. It was 2 different packages, and it asked how much in all. So 218 grams, 321 grams, and asking them what does the keyword mean. In all means to add. They have a subtraction problem and another fast fact with multiplication. One of our other properties that we've been talking about is commutative property. And as you see there, it means order. So that means that with the original problem that they were given was 5 times 7 equals 35. And what would be a different commutative property arrangement with 5 times 7, it would be 7 times 5 because the order does not change the answer. So 5 times 7 is the same as 7 times 5. Number 13 is one of our 3-step processes. They have to write 2 equations, and those are shown there, and then solve for x. Once again, the biggest part of this problem is that they try to solve first, and then they want to subtract 516 minus 604. They're given like 604 over here, and then like say like that was Friday, and then maybe Saturday or Sunday and Monday, and they have to combine Sunday and Monday, 210 and 306, and then take that away from the Friday total of 604. And they tried to switch these two right here and put 506 first, and then take the 604 away, which would mean that they would have to subtract up. It's the smaller number on top, and a lot of times that they get confused with that. My big thing is that I tell them that they have to put the larger number on top. It's also a borrowing problem, so make sure that they're practicing with that. The last 2 problems that they have is another addition problem, something that they can practice with, and then a fraction picture. So they are given a picture of a total amount of flowers in this case, and they ask how many are shaded out of the total. So in this case, it was 6 are shaded out of 9. And practicing the pronunciation of this fraction, 6/9 would be the way to pronounce this fraction. If you have any questions, be sure and let me know. Thank you.